A humble branch of a young man, who occasionally passed down a shocking legacy, awakened at once, and the dragon soared into the heavens. Cultivate the 9-star divine dragon technique, condense the dragon veins, and form a dominant body. Competing with the pride of all races, crossing over all realms, and awe-inspiring the 9 heavens. Chapter 1. Young Jiang Xian. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yuan Wu Dynasty, Tianshui Commandery. In the depths of a bamboo forest, a young man is practicing. Drink. The young man let out a low drink and kept changing his hands in various positions, attacking the bamboo forest ahead. Bang bang bang. The deep and muffled sound echoed through the bamboo forest. His movements flow freely and naturally, indicating frequent practice. If there were martial arts practitioners here, they would find that although the young man's fists were strong and powerful, there was no fluctuation of spiritual energy. The young man was sweating profusely, but his youthful and delicate face was tinged with stubbornness. I need to work harder to break through the shackles of martial arts, gather spiritual meridians, and step into the realm of opening meridians. At that time, I will be able to participate in the Jiang family's monthly exam and step on those main disciples who look down on me one by one. The young man's name is Jiang Xian, and he is a branch of the Jiang family. Every year, the Jiang family selects several talented young men from several major branches and sends them to the main branch of the Jiang family for cultivation, injecting fresh blood into the Jiang family. A year ago, Jiang Xian was lucky enough to be the chosen one, and he happily came to Tianshui County with his childhood sweetheart Jiang Shui. However, when he arrived here, he realized that he, who was once known as a genius in the small town, was nothing more than a waste in everyone's mouths. Moreover, what made it most difficult for him to accept was that Jiang Shui, who had come with him at the beginning, seemed to have realized his awkward position in his own tribe. Later, he left him directly and walked with a prestigious main lineage descendant of the Jiang family, named Jiang Tianyi. Bang! With a loud bang, the green bamboo in front of the meeting was unexpectedly broken by the waste, and anger seemed to rise in Jiang Xian's eyes. All these humiliations, one day he will reclaim them one by one. After completing his cultivation, Jiang Xian did not go back directly, but wandered in the forest. He wants to find a natural treasure called Fengyang grass, which is prepared for his sister. His younger sister Jiang Linger has been frequently affected by the cold since she was born, and her whole body is frozen to the bone, causing her parents to be heartbroken. In order to treat my younger sister's illness, my parents have visited many places in search of effective remedies. However, 3 years ago, my parents never came back after their last outing. I heard that the last time someone saw my parents was in a place called Qingtian's sect mansion. It is said that it is a martial arts sect with a longer history than the entire Yuan and Wu dynasties, and it is simply beyond the reach of one's current self. However, Jiang Xian will not give up. His main purpose in coming to Tianshui County this time is to gain a place in the Jiang family's main lineage, because only in this way can he obtain better cultivation resources, thereby improving his cultivation and laying a foundation for entering the Qingtian sect mansion in the future. Before that, he needs to pass the monthly test of the Jiang family first, otherwise he will be sent back to his original town. Time is getting tighter and tighter. Jiang Xian couldn't help but clench his fist. Half an hour later, this bamboo forest gradually became lively. This bamboo forest is under the jurisdiction of the Jiang family. Due to its abundant spiritual energy, many Jiang family children choose to come here every morning to experience and practice. At this moment, they saw Jiang Xian wandering independently in the forest and immediately began to discuss. It's Jiang Xian. It's the waste from the branch. Why is he here again? Does he still want to qualify for the monthly exam through cultivation? Perhaps. Do you think it's possible to rely on him as a useless branch? Participating in the monthly exam requires the strength of opening the Meridian Realm triple. Now he's afraid that he hasn't even reached the level of opening the Pulse Realm. I heard that Jiang Shui, who came with him, had an extremely beautiful appearance. Later, she left him and was with the genius Jiang in our clan. This is natural. It's common to have a beautiful woman paired with a hero. Have you ever heard of a beautiful woman paired with a bear? Ah. Waste is waste. If it were me, I would have to quickly find a hole to drill. Those children of the Jiang family not only didn't restrain themselves when they saw Jiang Xian coming over, but also raised their voices a bit. They all showed a proud expression. Perhaps this is a natural sense of superiority of the main branch over the branch. Upon hearing those sarcastic comments, Jiang Xian's face turned cold. Seemingly seeing Jiang Xian's cold expression, a chubby young man immediately stood up and stood in front of him. Jiang Xian, are you not convinced? Why don't you compete with me? Jiang Yimo. Jiang Xian's expression was ugly. Jiang Yimo was considered one of the less qualified members of the Jiang family's main lineage, and he was not well liked in the family. He was often bullied by some of the family's arrogant people. So, for these children from their branches, they are even more ruthless, treating them as tools to vent their frustrations. Jiang Yimo is now a dual strength in the Kaimai realm. To fight him at this time is to seek death. Jiang Xian's heart was filled with anger, but his experiences over the years taught him to be patient. Jiang Yimo, today I came to pick medicine for my sister. If you want to call, we can make an appointment next time. Jiang Yimo was stunned. He didn't expect Jiang Xian to agree. However, as soon as he thought of the pitiful appearance of Jiang Xian kneeling at his feet and begging for mercy next time, he felt a chill in his heart. Okay. In those 3 days, I'll wait for you at the martial arts arena. After speaking, Jiang Yimo turned around and left directly. Hee. There's really a good show to watch now. You can help me occupy a spot then. How can I miss this great play? The ridicule and mockery coming from around made Jiang Xian completely unable to resist. He ran wildly and rushed into the depths of the bamboo forest. Why? His fists kept pounding the boulder in front of him, and he roared wildly, as if wanting to release all the pent-up pain in his heart at this moment. He has been living in a small town since childhood and yearns for the wonderful and diverse world outside. He wants to practice and stand out. But the cruelty of reality is gradually suppressing his childhood dreams. He is unwilling, with a loud rumble. Suddenly, the blue sky, which was originally clear for thousands of miles, was shrouded in dark clouds, with electric flashes rolling endlessly in the sky like angry dragons. Shoo! Subsequently, a golden lightning bolt unexpectedly crossed through time and space, carrying the energy of destroying the heavens and earth. Under Jiang Xian's horrified gaze, it fiercely struck down his heavenly spirit cover. Click and wipe. After a loud bang, Jiang Xian felt as if the whole world had quieted down. His eyes were wide open and he couldn't believe it. He had thought of countless ways to die, but he never expected that he would eventually be struck to death by lightning. Chapter 2. 9-Star Divine Dragon Technique. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Accompanied by a severe pain in his head, Jiang Xian suddenly woke up. This is. He discovered that he had entered a world of stars. The endless star field is dotted with stars, vast and boundless. Among them, among the countless stars, 9 are particularly bright, shining brightly, even concealing the radiance of the surrounding stars. They operate slowly, seemingly attracting each other and pulling each other. Until the end, the 9 stars seem to merge and form a straight line. 9-Star Ball. Sing. At some point, an endless divine dragon suddenly appeared, hovering between the 9 stars. The divine dragon's eyes were majestic and domineering, and its whole body seemed to exude a powerful aura of dominating the world. I am the supreme divine dragon, the eternal supreme under the sky. The gaze of the divine dragon seemed to have traveled through eternity and landed on Jiang Xian. Suddenly, Jiang Xian's whole body was stirred up, and he felt as if he had been completely seen through in front of this divine dragon, with no more secrets. "Why are seniors here?" Jiang Xian tentatively spoke up. Although he was just a small branch of his family, he had also heard some legendary stories from his parents since childhood. The person in front of him was very likely a powerful existence from ancient times. "In a great war 3,000 years ago, I was ambushed and died to the death. Boy, I feel your unwillingness in your heart. I hope that after inheriting my legacy, one day you can go to the dragon clan and rescue our people." The tone of the divine dragon seemed to carry a faint sense of sadness. Later, before Jiang Xian could react, the divine dragon roared and the 9 stars above the 9 heavens transformed into mysterious runes that rushed into Jiang Xian's mind. When Jiang Xian saw the scene before him again, he found himself back in reality. "Call out." Jiang Xian took a deep breath and eagerly digested the information that came to his mind. The 9-star divine dragon technique is said to be the highest skill of ancient times. When practiced to perfection, one can transform into a divine dragon, invincible in flesh, and dominate the world. Jiang Xian's expression was filled with excitement. He never expected that one day he would receive the inheritance of ancient powers. The path he will take in the future is destined to be extraordinary. Don't worry. Inherit it from you and rebuild it together. In the future, I will definitely go to the dragon clan to save your people. Jiang Xian secretly made up his mind. Oh. My realm has broken through to the triple realm of opening meridians. At this moment, Jiang Xian had an impulse to look up and smile. This time, not only did he receive a terrible inheritance, but his cultivation also took 1,000 miles in a day. Humph, Jiang Mo, usually, you main lineage children always bully our branch lineage children based on your own cultivation. This time, you just wait and see. Jiang Xian is a person with clear love and hate, and every drop of kindness should be repaid by a gushing spring. But if someone bullies him, he must be repaid 10 times. Picking the Fengyang grass, Jiang Xian did not linger any longer. He was as tall as the wind and quickly returned to the house where he lived. "Brother, come over and have dinner." Just as she returned home, a young girl greeted her directly and pulled Jiang Xian to the table, smiling brightly. "Linger, here. This is the Fengyang grass for you. When I have the money, I will buy you a cold-avoiding pill, so that you can avoid the invasion of cold poison." Jiang Linger nodded obediently. Although her family is now poor, she has always believed in what her brother said. If his brother says it's okay, he will definitely do it. The next morning, Jiang Xian did not go out, but continued to practice in his own courtyard. Sing. In the courtyard, a dragon-shaped aura struck out under Jiang Xian's palm, with astonishing momentum. It's still not enough. Jiang Xian shook his palm, and although he had obtained the peerless martial arts book, 9-star divine dragon technique, he lacked body techniques. It seems we need to go to the library to take a look. After speaking, Jiang Xian walked directly towards the direction of the library. The library pavilion is located to the west of the Jiang family mansion, and to reach it, one will pass by the martial arts arena. As Jiang Xian passed by the martial arts arena, a shout made his footsteps stop. He. Jiang Xian, you're not afraid of death. I didn't expect you to come and die so soon. Jiang Xian frowned and looked ahead. Jiang Mo, today hasn't been 3 days yet. The person who appeared in front of Jiang Xian was Jiang Mo, who proposed to compete yesterday. So what? I can't wait. Jiang Mo gave a fierce smile, licking his lips, and a hint of cruelty flashed in his eyes. If it had been before, Jiang Xian would have been scared out of his wits, but now, okay. But my time is precious, why don't we just use one move to determine the winner? Jiang Xian said with a serious expression. He. This kid is actually smart. He knows he can't beat Jiang Mo, and he even proposed this method. I'm afraid he wants to use it to minimize the damage. However, he didn't even think about it. With his strength that was less than one level of the Kaimai realm, there was still no possibility of winning. Seeing the two people in the martial arts arena, many children of the Jiang family gathered around and looked at Jiang Xian with pity in their eyes. As expected, upon hearing Jiang Xian's words, Jiang Mo showed a strange smile. His body was suddenly ejected, and his palms turned into eagle claws, killing Jiang Xian like a falcon pouncing on it. This is 10-8 claws of the wind eagle. Everyone around exclaimed in surprise when they saw Jiang Mo's skill. You should know that although the 10-8 claws of the wind eagle is a low-level spiritual technique, it is known for its versatile moves, cunning, and ruthlessness. When completed, Wind Eagle's 10-8 claws can be compared to a mid-level spiritual formula. As far as everyone knows, Jiang Xian, who did not reach the first level of the Kaimai realm, was not qualified to practice spiritual formulas. Now Jiang Xian is done. Everyone shook their heads and encountered Jiang Mo, who had used 10-8 claws of the Wind Eagle. Jiang Xian was afraid that the outcome would be very tragic. What a ruthless means! Jiang Xian's expression was icy cold. He was not a fool. If Jiang Mo had used this move before, it would have been enough to keep him from getting out of bed for a month. However, a cold smile flashed in Jiang Xian's eyes. Since waking up that day, he found that he not only possessed the unparalleled martial arts set of 9-star divine dragon technique in his mind, but also obtained the memories of the previous life of the divine dragon elder, which included combat experience. Although the 18 claws of the Wind Eagle are incredibly strong, their defense is not strong. If they can concentrate their strength in one point, their martial arts can be broken. Go to hell. Seeing Jiang Xian motionless, Jiang Mo let out a fierce smile. He reached out with his right hand and was about to depose Jiang Xian. However, at this moment, Jiang Xian suddenly moved and saw his footsteps take a step forward. Then, with a concentrated finger of his cultivation, he was heavily bombarded with the punch that came from the attack. Click click click. Subsequently, the crowd heard a sound of broken bones coming out. Shoo! This kid is beyond his control, thinking that one move can prevent him from being seriously injured. Yeah. I dare to propose this move again without looking at my own weight. It seems that Jiang Mo's punch is enough to keep him from bed for half a year. Ah! However, when the pig-like cry came out, they realized that it was actually coming from Jiang Mo's mouth. How could this be possible? A group of Jiang family children gathered around and looked at the scene one by one as if they were seeing ghosts. Defeating you, one move is enough. Chapter 3. Library. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After defeating Jiang Mo, Jiang Xian left directly and soon arrived at the library. The library pavilion is an important area of the Jiang family, which houses many of their top martial arts. After Jiang Xian arrived here, he walked straight in. I saw a table placed at the front of the attic, where an old man sat. The old man had white hair all over his head and was dressed in a simple white robe, looking like an ordinary person. But Jiang Xian dared not neglect it. Those who could serve as gatekeepers in this library would not be ordinary people. He walked up and took out his identity card. Jiang Xian, a descendant of a branch. The old man glanced at the information on his identity card and then looked up and down at Jiang Xian. There are 3 levels of opening Meridian Realm. The old man was somewhat surprised and then said. You can choose any 2 spiritual secrets based on the triple strength of the Kaimai realm. Jiang Xian smiled and nodded, then he took his identity card and headed inside. Turning a few corners, Jiang Xian saw rows of spiritual formulas placed on the bookshelf. Jiang Xian licked his lips, feeling a little excited. The heritage of the Jiang family's main lineage was indeed not comparable to that of the small town where he was originally located. He walked over and quickly browsed through a book of martial arts secrets on the bookshelf. Cotton palm. Jiang Xian felt a little curious and wanted to take a look. Pop. However, just as he was about to receive it, a large hand next to him suddenly reached out and slapped his palm open. Jiang Xian's face suddenly turned cold. Jiang Li. Jiang Xian immediately recognized the person in front of him, who was a lackey under Jiang Tianyi's command. He always followed Jiang Tianyi's words. Yo! Isn't this Jiang Xian? How come you finally broke through the Kaimai realm and can enter the library? Hee. Unfortunately, I fell in love with this secret collection a few days ago, but I forgot to come over and take it for a while. Please cut me off, brother Jiang. Jiang Li had a hint of mockery on his face. This guy dared to compete with Tianyi for a woman, it was like seeking death. Okay. This is just a low-level spiritual code, if you want it, I'll give it to you. Jiang Xian smiled nonchalantly. Jiang Li was stunned. He thought that if Jiang Xian had stolen the spiritual secret from him, he would surely become angry and ashamed. Then he could take the opportunity to humiliate him. Humph. I'll just follow you and make sure you can't take any of it. Jiang Li's mouth curved into a sneer. There was a time limit for entering this library, and as a branch of the family, there was only 1 hour left for each entry. Jiang Xian glanced at Jiang Li following behind him, ignoring him and continuing to select the secret collection he wanted. Splitting Mountain Palm, a low-level and top-grade spiritual formula. Jiuyang Swordsmanship, a low-level and inferior spiritual formula. Looking at the dazzling array of books, Jiang Xian frowned. Why are all low-level spiritual codes? It seems that only on the second level will there be mid-level or higher spiritual codes. Thinking about it, he walked towards the direction leading to the second staircase. What do you want, this kid? Jiang Li and the children of the Jiang family around him frowned when they saw Jiang Xian clamoring to enter the second floor. Arriving at the staircase, Jiang Xian was about to step up. However, just as Jiang Xiangang first touched the second level of stairs, a strong resistance suddenly pressed against his body. Bang! With a loud bang, Jiang Xian was immediately bounced out by the anti-seismic force. Ha. I'm really laughing at you. There's a small formation between the first and second layers, which will check the cultivator's cultivation on its own. Only martial arts practitioners who have reached the true Yuan realm can enter. Stupid. Jiang Li burst into laughter when he saw Jiang Xian feeling exhausted. As is well known, the cultivation realm is divided into 3 levels in order. The opening meridian realm, the true elemental realm, the sea transforming realm, and the elemental pill realm. Obviously, this second level requires cultivation in the true elemental realm to enter. I see. Jiang Xian nodded. This was his first time here, so he didn't know that there was even a formation in the library that could test people's cultivation. No wonder the old man just now did not specify the level of cultivation he selected. Because the cultivation of the Kaimai realm cannot even enter the second attic. However, just because someone else can't do it doesn't mean he can't either. In the inheritance of the Divine Dragon, the 9-star Divine Dragon technique is also accompanied by a true Dragon Secret Classic, which records all the knowledge collected by the Dragon tribe in ancient times, including formations. So the formation in front of Jiang Xian, who had inherited his memory, was like a children's play. At present, his spiritual perception erupted, and a red light curtain appeared in front of what was originally nothing. This should be the formation. In this formation, Jiang Xian could feel that there seemed to be some subtle fluctuations in various positions. This should be the 4 fulcrums for casting this formation. As long as I destroy one of these points, the formation should experience a brief imbalance, and I can use this gap to pass. Jiang Xian thought to himself, and soon a golden dragon-shaped energy on his right index finger pointed towards a point in the front formation. Buzz! When his strength touched the fulcrum, Jiang Xian was pleasantly surprised to find that it was indeed as he had expected. At the moment when the strong energy touched, the formation was like ice and snow meeting the setting sun, gradually dissipating. Right now. Jiang Xian took a step without hesitation, crossed the formation, and walked towards the second layer. How could this be possible? Watching from behind, Jiang Li, who was waiting for him to continue making a fool of himself, was shocked to see that Jiang Xian had not been unleashed by the power of the formation. He quickly rushed over, bang. However, when he rushed over, the formation that had just been destroyed by Jiang Xian was once again repaired. So the current scene emerged. Damn! Why is this? Jiang Li roared angrily. After Jiang Xian arrived at the second level, he continued to select his techniques. The second level of cultivation is much less than the first level, but it is more advanced. If it were placed outside, it would definitely attract countless people to compete. However, what he needs most now is a personal spiritual technique and a fist-style spiritual technique, so that when facing enemies, he can also achieve the ability to advance, attack, and defend. After a round of screening, he finally selected an intermediate and top-grade body technique spiritual formula. Tianyun Fairy. This Dharma spirit technique not only has a high level, but also requires the least amount of energy when used, making it suitable for his current use. Just it. After selecting the body method and spirit technique, Jiang Xian quickly swept over the rows of bookshelves. But at this moment his footsteps suddenly stopped, his gaze turned not far away, and then he landed on a spiritual secret book. By Quan Zhenti Gong. Chapter 4. 2 Realms in a Day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I saw that this spiritual code was extremely dilapidated, covered in dust, and it was obvious that no one had touched it for a long time. Jiang Xian took it off, and then several clear and simple large characters appeared before his eyes. By Quan Zhenti Gong, a low-level and top-grade spiritual formula. 100 punches, a heavenly earthquake, and the execution of evil ways. Practice to the fullest extent, comparable to advanced and top-grade spiritual formulas. What a domineering technique. Jiang Xian's heart was filled with joy. Although this martial arts technique was extremely domineering, for him who possessed the 9-star divine dragon technique, it was a perfect match, and he was sure to have stronger strength when the time came. With such thoughts in his heart, Jiang Xian went down the stairs with satisfaction and went directly to the old man in the white robe to register. Ha! This is 100 Fists Shock Body Skill. When he saw the spiritual formula in Jiang Xian's hand, the old man in the white robe frowned slightly. Kid, are you sure you want to choose this spiritual formula? Although this spiritual formula is extremely domineering, if you don't have enough spiritual energy, you will be backfired. The old man in the white robe spoke earnestly, only because the risk of practicing this spiritual technique was extremely high. He really didn't want to see a young man who had the opportunity to step into the true elemental realm in the future have his future ruined by practicing this spiritual technique. I'm sure. However, at Jiang Xian's insistence, the old man in the white robe could only shake his head and help him register the books he had taken, then handed him the 2 spiritual formulas. As he watched his receding figure, the old man exclaimed, "This kid has a bit of courage at a young age. I hope he can act within his abilities and not be defeated by that 100-fist shock technique." After leaving the library, Jiang Xian planned to go to the mountains and forests for cultivation. Jiang Xian. However, a sound stopped his footsteps. He turned around and saw a man and a woman walking towards him. Jiang Xian's gaze was slightly cold, because these two were the geniuses Jiang Tianyi, who had betrayed him and the Jiang family before. Jiang Xian, I heard you defeated Jiang Mo and seem to have been working hard to cultivate recently. At this moment, Jiang Shui suddenly spoke with a hint of disdain in her tone. What do you want to say? Jiang Xian's expression was icy cold. Jiang Shui shook her head when she saw Jiang Xian's cold expression and continued, Jiang Xian, if you want to catch my attention in this way, then I advise you to save it. We are no longer in the same class now, and you are like a clown, which will only make me more disgusted. Now that I am a woman of Tiangu, I advise you not to fantasize about things that are not there anymore. If a toad wants to eat swan meat, it will only harm yourself in the end. Upon hearing this, Jiang Xian smiled. He didn't expect people to be so shameless. Get lost. With a loud roar, Jiang Shui's face turned pale in fear. She quickly took a few steps back. Tianyi brother. This trash is actually bullying me. Jiang Shui said pitifully. Kid, I'll give you two choices now. Firstly, I'll disable my spiritual pulse and apologize to Shui. Secondly, in the monthly trial, I'll personally take action to disable you. Jiang Tianyi spoke directly, domineering, cold, and without any tone of negotiation. He looked indifferent, as if he was above. Jiang Xian glanced at him and then turned around to leave, but his casual tone made Jiang Shui's face turn blue with anger. Okay. I'll wait then. Upon arriving in the mountains and forests, Jiang Xian was not in a hurry to cultivate. From the records in the Nine Dragons Secret Classic, Jiang Xian learned of the existence of a type of talisman called the Zhu Ling Fu. The so-called spiritual talisman refers to the use of spiritual power to depict runes on objects, enabling them to have various magical effects. For example, the thousand-spider holy pattern can transform into millions of silk threads, which can be used to interfere with the opponent's actions during battles. And like space runes, they can give warriors the ability to break through the void horizontally, and this time, the spirit gathering pattern that Jiang Xian wants to depict can allow the warrior to absorb the spiritual energy between heaven and earth more quickly during cultivation, enabling them to quickly break through the realm. Without hesitation, Jiang Xian casually tore off a piece of clothing and prepared a top-quality wolf hair. Jiang Xian picked up the wolf hair and carefully carved it using the inscription method recorded in the Nine Dragons Secret Classic. Runes are mysterious and unpredictable, and on this continent, talismans are extremely scarce, almost a legendary existence. But for Jiang Xian, who has inherited the Nine Dragons Secret Classic, it is not difficult. So although Jiang Xian's process of depicting runes was very slow, it was exceptionally smooth, and soon he seemed to have entered a state of forgetting both things and me. After a long time, a blue rune appeared before my eyes. It's done. Jiang Xian lifted the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a satisfied smile. However, he seemed to feel a hint of something unusual, his eyes slightly closed, feeling the changes inside his body. My spiritual perception has become stronger. Jiang Xian was overjoyed and found that his perception of this world seemed to be becoming increasingly clear. The reason for inscribing this rune. Jiang Xian's eyes lit up slightly. It seemed that his engraving of runes this time had made his spiritual perception even stronger. If he could continue to inscribe like this, it would be of great benefit to his breakthrough in realm. At the thought of this, Jiang Xian continued to engrave the spiritual talisman without saying a word. After an unknown amount of time, Jiang Xian finally stopped depicting. Looking at the pile of runes in front of him, he felt a daze. Did he unconsciously depict so many? Moreover, he found that his current realm seemed to have reached a deeper level, and he could break through to the fourth level of the opening meridian realm at any time. He immediately sat down and the 9-star divine dragon technique quickly began to run in his mind, absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. People on this continent practice spiritual meridians, but the absorption speed of these spiritual meridians is really a bit slow. Jiang Xian murmured in his heart, and soon his thoughts moved, as if the sound of a dragon singing could be heard inside his body. Subsequently, he saw a golden light shining on his body, and the spiritual veins that had originally emitted a faint fluorescence also quietly changed, transforming into a golden vein, which became the dragon vein. Dragon Vein is an extremely powerful body refining technique in the 9-star Divine Dragon technique. Its speed of absorbing spiritual energy is far 10 times faster than that of ordinary spiritual veins. Boom! When the spiritual meridian transformed into a dragon meridian, Jiang clearly felt that the speed of absorbing spiritual energy between heaven and earth became faster and faster. Sha sha sha. The terrifying absorption power, combined with the help of the gathering spirit talisman, instantly engulfed the surrounding spiritual energy as if it had been devoured by a black hole. With a loud bang, the spiritual energy within a radius of 10 miles was completely drained. Moreover, it seemed that the terrifying power had not stopped and was constantly spreading towards the distance. With the continuous infusion of spiritual energy, Jiang's aura also became stronger and stronger. Until a certain moment, puff. 2 subtle sounds echoed through Jiang's body. His eyes suddenly opened and his face was filled with a smile. He exclaimed joyfully, "The 5 levels of the opening meridian realm." That's right, in just half a day, Jiang broke through, and it was 2 realms in a day. He happily tidied up his things and walked towards the depths of the mountains and forests. Chapter 5. Flame Lion King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Pushi. In the jungle, an agile figure suddenly rushed from the darkness, punching through a demon bear in front of him. As soon as his figure fell, he revealed a handsome face, which was none other than Jiang. Jiang has been in this jungle for 3 days now. In these 3 days, Jiang hunted and killed many spirit beasts, including the existence of the 6 levels of power in the Kaimai realm. Now I have cultivated the 100 Fists shock body skill to a minor level, which can easily kill spirit beasts in the 6th level of the open meridian realm. Even if I encounter the existence of the 8th level of the open meridian realm, now I have the power to fight. As long as I can hunt more spirit beasts, I can exchange Linger for the cold avoidance pill. Jiang shook the Qianquan bag he was holding in his hand, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He took out a dagger, cut open the belly of the giant bear, and took out the spirit beast's crystal soul. These spirit beast's crystal spirits are the essence in the spirit beast's body, and contain huge energy. If swallowed directly, it can improve one's accomplishments and combat effectiveness. If it were to be sold, Jiang could also earn a considerable income, so he naturally wouldn't miss it. After a simple tidying up, Jiang planned to continue hunting spirit beasts. Roar. However, at this moment, a thunderous roar suddenly came from the forest. What's going on? Jiang raised his eyebrows and suddenly felt a hint of interest in his heart. He walked away in the direction of the sound. Run quickly. It's the Flame Lion King. However, as soon as he walked a little further, Jiang saw several figures running towards him from the opposite side, with a hint of fear on their faces. Flame Lion King. Jiang murmured, and his face immediately became ecstatic. He had heard of the existence of the Flame Lion King, which was equivalent to the 7 levels of the human meridian realm spirit beast. If you can kill it, you can not only exchange it for the cold avoidance pill, but also earn a considerable income. Miss Air, run quickly. However, just as he was about to take action, among the running figures, a young man shouted towards the rear. Miss Air. Jiang raised his eyebrows, and then he saw a young girl behind her, using a light and agile body technique to avoid the Flame Lion King. What a wonderful body technique. Jiang's eyes lit up slightly, and this set of body techniques and spiritual techniques seemed extremely impressive. It looked much stronger than his Tianyun crossing, at least it was also a high level and inferior spiritual technique. Judging from their appearance, they should be children from a big family, and they are also core disciples. Otherwise, it would be impossible to obtain such advanced body techniques and spiritual secrets. Jiang stood in place, secretly analyzing. Roar. The Flame Lion King seemed to be angry too. It roared upwards, and the terrifying sound waves instantly made the girl's face turn white. Pushi. The girl felt a piercing pain in her eardrums and couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Miss Air. The group of young people accompanying them all had pale faces, but no one dared to go over. Dong. The Flame Lion King's eyes were red, with a hint of cruelty. It opened its bloody mouth and walked with heavy steps, tearing and biting at the girl under her horrified gaze. Done. A handsome young man accompanying him saw this scene and a hint of sadness flashed in his eyes. His footsteps moved towards the back, ready to flee. Shoo. However, at this moment, a sudden sound of breaking wind sounded from behind, and a young figure rushed towards him in the blink of an eye. Bai Quan Jinti Gong. Bang. With a single punch, the once fierce Flame Lion King suddenly became stagnant, and then it felt an indescribable pain spreading throughout its body. Its massive body also reflexively flew out at this moment. This. Everyone's eyes widened instantly, their faces full of disbelief. That's the Flame Lion King. The existence of the 7 layers of the Kaimai realm. However, under the boy's punch, he was knocked several meters away. But they didn't know that Jiang Xian had already reached the 5th level of the Open Meridian realm, and with the domineering spiritual techniques of 9-star Divine Dragon Technique and 100-fist Shock Body Technique, the combined power could reach 10,000 pounds. Even ordinary 7-level experts in the Open Meridian realm would not be Jiang Xian's opponent now. Roar. The Flame Lion King let out a painful howl, and it felt as if all its bones were about to fall apart. Its eyes were crimson, and it headed towards Jiang Xian. Yunshi, are you okay? The handsome young man ran to the girl when he saw the Flame Lion King go far away. Who is this person? His strength is so strong. The group of teenagers looked at their gradually disappearing figures and exclaimed in surprise. I think it might be the hunters around here. Although these hunters don't have much ability, they are quite skilled in dealing with these spiritual beasts. I think they must have used some means. The handsome young man glanced at the direction of the Lion King's departure and said disdainfully. That's right. I heard those hunters would sprinkle some animal repellent powder purchased from the market on their bodies, which would greatly reduce the combat effectiveness of these spirit beasts fighting against them. I see, I'll just say it. How could that young man's strength be compared to Qin Hong's elder brother? Who wouldn't know that Qin Hong's elder brother has now reached the strength of the 6th level of the Kaimai realm, and can also be considered outstanding in Tianshui County? The group of young people immediately started praising. Upon hearing everyone's praise, Qin Hong's face showed a smug smile, and he seemed to enjoy the feeling. You guys have enough. Yunshi suddenly shouted, causing everyone to stop laughing, and the smile on Qin Hong's face was even more stiff. Anyway, he also saved us. Let's go over and see if we can help him. As she spoke, she gave Qin Hong a disgusted glance and ran towards the direction where Jiang Xian had left. Seeing the expression on Yunshi's face, Qin Hong's expression became even more gloomy. He was the 2nd son of the Qin family, the largest family in Tianshui County. He had long coveted Yunshi's beauty, and even regarded her as his designated wife. However, since coming into contact, Yunshi has always given him a sense of distance, as if he can never get close. However, Yunshi was so concerned about this young man whom he had just met, which made Qin Hong feel a hint of jealousy in his heart. And on the other side, bang bang bang. With Jiang Xian's punches falling, the Flame Lion King, known as the King of the Body, could no longer withstand it. Hee. With this Flame Lion King's Spirit Beast Crystal Soul, it should be enough to purchase Linger's Cold Avoidance Pill. Jiang Xian wiped a handful of sweat and took out the Spirit Beast Crystal Soul. And just as he was about to leave, he suddenly noticed that his blood was boiling inside, which was. Chapter 6. Kill all the unjust people in the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The way of devouring. Jiang Xian's eyes lit up as he remembered recording in the 9-star divine dragon technique, that in order to forge a supreme body and transform into a true dragon, in addition to practicing the 9-star divine dragon technique, he could also devour all things in the world and refine his own bloodline. And the fiery Lion King in front of me is undoubtedly the best material. Taking a deep breath of the cold air, Jiang Xian's palm slammed onto the Lion King's body, and then the 9-star divine dragon technique quickly began to operate, devouring the Lion King's bloodline. In no time, the huge beast's body began to wither, and his own breath was gradually rising. I didn't expect it to be true. My strength has increased again. Jiang Xian's face was filled with joy as he realized that his strength had improved again. If I could encounter spiritual beasts with true dragon bloodline in the future, then my strength would definitely be greatly improved. Young Master. At this moment, Yunshi rushed over and looked at the flame Lion King lying on the ground, his rosy little mouth also slightly open. Behind him, Qin Hong and others looked disdainful, apparently believing that this was a spirit beast that Jiang Xian had subdued through the use of animal repellent powder. After a long time, Yunshi finally regained consciousness and smiled at Jiang Xian. I just wanted to thank you, young master, for helping me out. Hello, my name is Yunshi. Jiang Xian. Jiang Xiandao. Jiang Gongzi, there are many spiritual beasts in this jungle, and you are also very dangerous alone. If it's convenient, we can travel together so that we can have some care on the way. Yunshi smiled sweetly, as if she was interested in Jiang Xian's strength. Shoo, Yunshi. You also look up to him too much. This kid just used animal repellent powder to kill the spirit beast. However, this method doesn't work every time, maybe it will become a burden for us later. Before Jiang Xian could speak, Qin Hong immediately sneered. Jiang Xian glanced at Qin Hong and could sense his hostility towards him in his tone, which made his face slightly cold. It seemed that he had never offended him before. But he didn't care either. People like Qin Hong, if he dared to do something, he could easily kill them. He smiled and said, "Thank you very much for Miss Yun's kindness, but since I'm used to being alone, I won't go with everyone." After speaking, he left directly, which disappointed Yunshi a bit. Qin, it seems that this kid has taken away the valuable items from the Flame Lion King. A young man accompanying him glanced at the withered Flame Lion King and said with an unpleasant expression. Don't worry. He can't run. Qin Hong sneered and his gloomy eyes flashed with a murderous intent. After parting ways with Yunshi and others, Jiang Xian walked all the way towards the outside of the mountains and forests. Taking a glance at the spirit beast crystal souls and spiritual talismans in the Qiankuan bag, Jiang Xian grinned and said, "My sister's cold avoidance pill has finally arrived. Coupled with this Flame Lion King spirit beast crystal soul and these spiritual talismans, it should be able to exchange for quite a few silver dollars." As soon as he thought of this, he felt incredibly comfortable in his heart. Perhaps after today, Jiang Xian could also be considered a wealthy person. Waste, please stop me. However, just as Jiang Xian was filled with joy, a cold voice suddenly came over. Jiang Xian looked up and saw several figures standing across from him. These figures were undoubtedly Qin Hong and the accompanying teenagers that Jiang Xian had just met. What's up? Jiang Xian's face was a bit cold. He had never offended them before, and even saved the lives of a few of them. However, the other party seemed to have hostility towards him. Kid, I advise you to hand over your things obediently. Maybe we can let you go, otherwise. The accompanying teenagers spoke arrogantly, with a hint of threat in their tone. If you have the ability, come and take it yourself. Jiang Xian shook his head and continued walking without looking at them again. Jiang Xian's attitude made Qin Hong's face look unpleasant. Humph, toast, don't eat, fine. Kid, die for me. As he spoke, Qin Hong had already taken a step forward and strode towards Jiang Xian, his long sword shining brightly with a chilly luster. Daring to compete with Qin Hong for a woman is like seeking death. You brought this on yourself. Jiang Xian spoke coldly. The next moment, Jiang Xian moved, and as he stepped on the ground, his body exploded like a shell. Subsequently, a dragon-shaped strong energy in his hands suddenly pierced through like a rainbow. Spiritual energy breaks the body. How could this be possible? Qin Hong, who had originally smirked and killed him, suddenly turned pale and colorless when he saw the somewhat unreal dragon-shaped energy in Jiang Xian's hand. Even the accompanying teenagers, upon seeing this dragon-like energy, their faces became desperate at this moment. As is well known, in the realm of opening meridians, the main focus is on cultivating the physical body of the warrior, because only by continuously refining the physical body and strengthening the physique, can the body produce true elemental seeds when breaking through the second realm of true elemental realm in the future, which can be used to store spiritual energy. At that time, spiritual energy can break through the body and emerge, resisting qi and killing people. So, it was only when they saw the dragon-shaped phantom on Jiang Xian's hand that they became so panicked. Death. As the cheers fell, the group of young people saw that Qin Hong, who was still invincible before, had no resistance under this punch. In the moment of collision, the sharp long sword shattered inch by inch. And Qin Hong was even blasted away by Jiang Xian's punch, shattering all his internal organs. After absorbing the bloodline power of the Flame Lion King, Jiang Xian found that although his realm had not been greatly improved, he was surprised to find that although he had not broken through to the true Yuan realm now, he had already condensed a true Yuan seed in his body. In the future, he had another trump card in facing enemies. Watching Qin Hong being punched and killed, the young men looked dazed. Monster. This guy is just a monster. Dong dong. Watching Jiang Xian walking towards them step by step, their whole bodies trembled. Jiang Gongzi, spare your life. Jiang Gongzi, we have all been tempted by Qin Hong's villain. And we are all descendants of the Qin family. If you kill us. Puff. However, before they could finish speaking, Jiang Xian waved his long sword in his hand, and the voices of the young men suddenly came to a halt. They covered their necks with blood spraying wildly, only to find that they could not say a word anymore. I don't care who you are, since you want to kill me, you must be prepared to be killed. Jiang Xian's gaze was icy cold, and this was what he should do for such ungrateful people. Later, Jiang Xian found some silver coins on them. Immediately after, he turned around and left without worrying about being discovered, because in the jungle where monsters roamed, it was normal for a few people to die, and it was impossible for anyone to find his head. Chapter 7. Deputy Master of Baibao Hall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, Jiang Xian left the monster jungle and returned to Tianshui County. Before long, he arrived at a loft. Baibao Hall. Looking at the few golden and rustic characters above, Jiang Xian didn't hesitate and walked straight in. Baibao is an extremely special force, independent of major families, and is one of the top forces in Tianshui County. Even the Qin and Jiang families, who are currently at their peak, cannot be compared. Young master, do you want to buy weapons or pills? Upon arriving in the hall, a young girl immediately welcomed her. I want to exchange some spirit beast's crystal souls for a cold pill. After Jiang Xian took out those crystal spirits, he could feel the shocked gazes around him. After all, there was the spirit beast crystal spirit of the Nine Flames Lion King in the Kaimai realm inside. Finally, he took the 5,000 taels of silver and a cold elixir from the girl's somewhat peculiar gaze. This made Jiang Xian very happy. Previously, he could only receive a monthly allowance of 5 taels at the Jiang family. I still have some things I want to sell, but I need your master to come over personally. Jiang Xian hesitated for a moment and spoke up. If you want to sell anything, young master, just come to me directly and don't disturb the master. The girl seemed somewhat displeased. She looked up and down at Jiang Xian, and although Jiang Xian was able to bring out so many crystal souls at once, which surprised her a bit, this kid was a bit too arrogant. Jiang Xian shook his head and took out a rune, which was exactly the spirit-gathering talisman engraved by Jiang Xian earlier. Is this a spiritual talisman? The girl was surprised and said that spiritual talismans were not commonly seen in the Yuan Wu dynasty, let alone in the remote Tianshui county. Young master, please come with me. The girl realized that she had just been impolite. Her face turned red and she brought Jiang Xian to the backstage. Inger, he is. In the background, an elderly man with white beard and hair looked at Jiang Xian, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. Master, this young master. Subsequently, the girl known as Inger spoke about Jiang Xian's purpose. Fu Shi. Are you from the Jiang family? The old man smiled with curiosity in his eyes. A hint of shock flashed in Jiang Xian's eyes, and the old man could tell his identity at a glance. Jiang Gongzi wants to sell this spiritual talisman. The old man did not continue to dwell on this issue, he asked. Besides that, I also want to be the deputy head of this Baibao hall. Arrogant. As soon as Jiang Xian's words were spoken, Inger on the side couldn't help but speak. Although this was just a branch of the 100 Treasures Hall on this continent, each leader and deputy leader was not a dominant figure. However, Jiang Xian was just a kid who opened the 5 levels of the Meridian Realm. Hee. Kid, my appetite is not small. However, to become the deputy head of my Baibao hall, relying solely on your spiritual talisman is far from enough. The old man smiled and said, isn't his position as the deputy head of the Baibao hall so cheap? What if I have more than just this spiritual talisman? Jiang Xian spoke lightly. The old man and the young girl were taken aback. Even if the most powerful ancient master of the Yuan Wu dynasty were to refine a spirit talisman, it would take 3 days. Do you think the spirit talisman is a cabbage in the market? The young girl Inger had a disdainful expression on her face, but just as she was about to continue speaking, her mouth gradually widened. Because in front of her, the spiritual talismans that made many masters of spiritual talismans extremely headache were thrown out of the Qianquan bag one by one like waste paper by Jiang Xian. Inger and the old man exchanged a glance, their faces filled with shock. This kid, he probably looted the entire national treasury once. At this moment, the old man only felt a slight dryness in his lips and a feeling of dryness and heat throughout his body. The talismans were already scarce and were treasures that were being looted by thousands of people outside. However, this boy threw them away like waste paper, as if he didn't need any money. In the eyes of the old man, what was thrown away by Jiang Xian was not waste paper, it was clearly pieces of gold. Is that enough? Jiang Xian spoke lightly. Enough. Enough. Hee. Jiang Gongzi, can we sell this spiritual talisman to me? It's not a problem to offer any price. The old man trembled his palm and asked. Although their Baibao branch holds a high position in Tianshui County, its status differs greatly from other Baibao branches because there is no talisman or alchemist sitting in their hall. If Jiang Xian could stay at the Baibao Hall, their position in the Tianshui County Baibao Hall would naturally rise. So, the position of this hall leader. Jiang Xian saw the old man hesitating slightly and pretended to leave. Jiang Gongzi. Please stay behind. However, just as he was about to step out of the backstage, the old man walked up and took out a silver waist token, saying with a bitter smile. Jiang Gongzi, this is the token of the deputy leader of my Baibao hall. In the future, besides me, you will be the highest leader in the Baibao hall. You can access all the resources in the Baibao hall. Jiang Xian's face was calm and he casually took the token. It's okay, isn't it? Upon hearing these words, the old man almost vomited blood in anger. I don't know how many people flocked to the position of this hall leader, but in the mouth of this kid, it was just okay. By the way, I will also engrave some advanced spiritual patterns later. Before leaving, Jiang Xian said a faint sentence, which made the old man's face very happy. Until he returned to the Jiang family, Jiang Xian's joy could no longer be concealed in his heart. He looked at the silver token and was inexplicably excited. With this token, he could also be considered a support in Tianshui County in the future. The first thing Jiang Xian did after returning home was to give the cold-avoiding pill to his sister and then help her dispel the cold. It has to be said that the effect of this cold-avoiding pill is indeed good. After taking it, coupled with Jiang Xian's use of spiritual power to soothe it, Linger's face immediately turned red. Afterwards, Jiang Xian personally cooked a sumptuous dinner. Jiang Xian, it's not good. Just as Jiang Xian was having dinner, the gate of the courtyard was suddenly pushed open and a young man rushed in, sweating profusely. Jiang Hu, what happened? Jiang Xian immediately stood up. The boy across from him is named Jiang Hu, just like him, from a branch of the Jiang family. Jiang Mo was upset because he was defeated by you last time, so he went to invite his brother Jiang Huan to take action and vent his anger on us, our branch children. Now Xiaoyozi is about to give up. Boom. Jiang Xian's expression was furious. He didn't expect Jiang Mo to be so shameless and even invite his brother to take action. Take me there quickly. Without saying a word, the two of them headed towards the direction of the martial arts arena. Chapter 8. I am the person you cannot afford to provoke. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Xian and Jiang Hu rushed towards the direction of the martial arts arena, immediately attracting the attention of countless people. Look, it's Jiang Xian. Is it true that his direction is to save those branch children? Jiang Xian's appearance immediately attracted the attention of many people. During this period, this branch of the family has risen like a comet, making a comeback and defeating Jiang Mo. They have climbed to the second level of the library with great strength. Will he have to challenge Jiang Huan, who ranks 7th in the foreign mansion, again this time? Everyone speculated one after another. Practice martial arts. Bang. On the field, a young man was beaten and lay on the ground, bleeding profusely. However, when Jiang Xian came over, Jiang Huan's attack finally came to a stop. Jiang Xian, you have finally arrived. Jiang Huan was commanding, waiting for Jiang Xian to appear, so that he could be ashamed of his younger brother Xue's move. If you want to save him, come up and challenge me. There are rules in the martial arts arena. After both sides accept a challenge, unless one person is willing to spare the other, one person needs to replace that person and continue to accept the challenge. Jiang Xian, don't fall for it. This is the Jiang family. Jiang Huan dare not kill Xiaoyozi. Yeah. Don't be impulsive. The children of the surrounding branches spoke up one after another to persuade. Don't worry. Jiang Xian said a word, and then took a step up the high platform, his white robe moving without wind. Open the 5 levels of the Pulse Realm. This scene made countless children of the Jiang family exclaim in surprise. Jiang Xian has unexpectedly broken through to the 5th level of the opening Meridian Realm, what a terrifying talent. Yeah. Half a month ago, he didn't even reach the level of opening the Pulse state. How long has it been since then? No wonder he dares to accept Jiang Huan's challenge. Countless people are discussing it one after another. Surprisingly, you have broken through to the 5th level of the Kaimai realm. Jiang Huan's face was gloomy. Yeah. I was practicing a few days ago and accidentally broke through 2 levels in a row. If I hadn't stopped it in time, I'm really afraid my foundation would be unstable. Jiang Xian shook his head, his plain tone as if talking about something ordinary. Wow. However, as soon as this statement was made, the whole scene was in an uproar. In an instant, breaking through 2 realms in a row, and this is still the result of timely containment. If it cannot be contained, will it have to go to heaven? Nonsense, don't use demonic language to deceive others. Jiang Huan's mouth twitched and his face looked ugly. It's just a matter of hiding cultivation in the past, but if you think that the strength of the 5 levels of the Kaimai realm can win me, then I can only say that you are too naive. As he spoke, his spiritual energy burst out, and the strength of his spiritual energy even reached the 7th level of the Kaimai realm. Bang! Subsequently, Jiang Huan's palm clenched into a fist and quickly swept towards Jiang Xian. Jiang Huan's figure was like a cheetah pouncing on it, his hands clawed and he grabbed towards Jiang Xian's waist. If it were an ordinary person, this claw would have taken the other person's life. I never expected that Jiang Huan would also have a back move. It is said that Jiang Huan once condensed the wind extreme spirit vessel, so his speed was as fast as the wind. Now, with such a fierce attack, this battle is likely to be more or less unlucky for Jiang Xian. Everyone shook their heads one after another. What, kid? Are you too scared to move? Looking at Jiang Xian standing still in place, Jiang Huan sneered, and the terrifying power in his hands became even more violent. This move was about to completely destroy Jiang Xian. However, just as Jiang Huan was about to encounter Jiang Xian, his body suddenly moved, and the heavenly cloud crossing technique quickly began to operate. His figure, like a spirit monkey, avoided Jiang Huan's terrifying blow. Subsequently, a dragon-like aura suddenly appeared on his palm and fiercely fanned Jiang Huan's cheek. Bang! A loud slap suddenly rang out in this scene. Ah! Immediately after, everyone saw Jiang Huan, who had just been invincible, with no strength to fight back under his palm, and was even blown away like garbage. Bang! Jiang Huan fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. This. Everyone was stunned. This scene was not as thrilling as imagined, but it further highlighted Jiang Xian's strength. Jiang Xian, I want you to die. Jiang Huan's face, which had turned from embarrassment to anger, was terrifying. He got up and a pill appeared in his hand, and then he quickly swallowed it. The next moment, his whole body's breath suddenly surged, but in an instant, he broke through the 7th level of the open pulse realm and reached the 8th level of the open pulse realm. Go to hell. Jiang Huan's confidence doubled as his aura surged. He burst out laughing wildly and charged towards Jiang Xian with a frenzied expression. Jiang Huan has taken the pill of skyrocketing cultivation. The changes in the field immediately drew screams of surprise, and the children of the Jiang family's branches gritted their teeth one by one. Even the children of the main branch shook their heads secretly, feeling ashamed of Jiang Huan's method. This is terrible. I'm afraid Jiang Xian will become disabled even if he doesn't die this time. On a high platform, Jiang Feng, the strongest man in the outer mansion, frowned and said. His palm was shrouded in an invisible vortex, and he planned to take action. As the strongest in the outer realm, he has reached the 9th level of the Kaimai realm and also possesses the power of spiritual energy to break through the body. Ha ha ha. Jiang Xian, I am the strongest. Jiang Huan, who was close at hand, showed a smile of determination at the corner of his mouth. However, strangely enough, Jiang Xian did not panic as he had imagined. Dark fist marks suddenly appeared on his palm. By Quan Zhenti Gong. The terrifying fist print and the incoming palm collided fiercely under the gaze of everyone. Boom! A terrifying shock wave swept through, lifting up a cloud of dust. It's over. Everyone shook their heads, feeling a wave of regret for Jiang Xian in their hearts. Bang! Then in the next moment, everyone was shocked to see that the figure thrown away was not the imagined Jiang Xian, but Jiang Huan, who had previously boasted about killing Jiang Xian. In an instant, everyone's gaze became strange, and awe began to appear in the eyes of the young man who was still standing in the room and standing gracefully. Jiang Huan, who ranks 7th in the outer mansion, naturally has no doubt about his own strength, but he cannot withstand a single move under the young man's command, even though he has taken pills. One punch, win or lose. Jiang Xian stood in the field, looking at Jiang Huan lying on the ground like a dead dog, and said in an indifferent tone. In the future, please see clearly who is causing trouble. It's not something you can afford to provoke. After speaking, he didn't talk nonsense and turned around to leave, leaving behind a group of people with a dull expression on their faces. Jiang Feng, who was about to take action on stage, also had a dull gaze. Then, with great interest, he glanced at Jiang Xian who had left and murmured to himself. What a formidable guy. I'm getting more and more excited about this monthly test. Chapter 9. Tianshui Tower. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After leaving the martial arts arena, Jiang Xian returned to his room to continue his cultivation, and now the day of the moon test is getting closer and closer. 3 days later, Jiang Xian opened his tightly closed eyes and shook his head, saying, it's really difficult to break through the 6 levels of the Kaimai realm. The 6 levels of the opening meridian realm and the 5 levels of the opening meridian realm are a huge watershed, and the spiritual power required is more than twice that of the 5 levels of the opening meridian realm. Throughout history, many heavenly beings have always needed more than a month to overcome a hurdle. It seems that I am a bit anxious. With a bitter smile and a shake of his head, Jiang Xian jumped onto the bed and planned to move around. Bang bang bang. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door and the voice of a young man. Jiang Xian, I'll take you to a good place. Jiang Xian opened the door and saw a young man with a tiger head and a tiger brain outside. The young man is Jiang Hu. Jiang Xian, the scene where you defeated Jiang Huan before was simply too handsome. You really helped us, the younger generation, grow our faces. Jiang Hu chuckled. We branch disciples have recently saved up some silver to thank you, and we plan to take you to the Tianshui Tower to enjoy yourself. Jiang Xian was stunned for a moment. He remembered that the Tianshui Pavilion was an industry under the name of Baibao, and the consumption inside was extremely expensive. Those who went there to enjoy it were all high-ranking officials and nobles, which was not something that ordinary people could enjoy. Let's go. Seeing Jiang Xian's strange gaze, Jiang Hu was afraid that Jiang Xian would refuse, so he hurriedly led him towards the city center. The Tianshui Tower is located in the central area of Tianshui County, which is extremely bustling, with the vast majority of visitors being either wealthy or wealthy. When Jiang Hu and a few good friends brought Jiang Xian here, looking at this ancient and magnificent attic, their hearts couldn't help but feel uneasy. He touched the purse wrapped around his waist and felt a bit sore. Xuan, this meal is for our brother's sake. He gritted his teeth and forced out a smile that was even uglier than crying. Jiang Xian smiled bitterly and shook his head. He was wondering if it was not very authentic to earn the hard-earned money of his fellow brothers. After all, he could earn 30% of the profit from the Tianshui Tower every month, which was a benefit as the deputy leader. However, although he thought so in his heart, his footsteps were not slower than the others, and he took big strides towards the Tianshui Tower. As soon as he entered the Tianshui Tower, Jiang Xian felt strange gazes all around him. After all those who could come here were aristocratic children, and there were very few fresh faces like Jiang Xian. Jiang Xian didn't take it seriously and sat down in the corner, along with Jiang Hu and the others. But just then, a surprised voice suddenly came. Jiang Xian. Jiang Xian looked up and saw a young girl walking towards him with a smile on her face. Ah! It's actually Yunxi, the daughter of the Lord's mansion. Who is that kid? How could Miss Yunxi take the initiative to come over and say hello? Could it be that the young master of some faction failed to succeed? Upon hearing everyone's discussion, Jiang Xian was also surprised. It turned out that the girl in front of him was actually the daughter of the Lord's mansion and the most beautiful woman in Tianshui County. No wonder she looked so outstanding. Yunxi. Unexpectedly, I met Prince Jiang here, and I had to thank him for his help before. Yunshi smiled brightly, her agile eyes filled with joy and gratitude. I didn't expect to meet him here. Boss, we've met a few friends over there, so we won't disturb your chat anymore. As they spoke, Jiang Hu and others showed a hint of, I understand, towards Jiang Xian and left the spot with great understanding. Jiang Xian's head turned black. What kind of person do these guys consider themselves? Is he that kind of person? However, everyone then saw Jiang Xian inviting Yun Shi to sit down together, and it seemed like they were having a great conversation. There was no match for the cold and aloof demeanor just now. Shameless. The arrogant sons around were all gritting their teeth, eager to step forward immediately, beat up that kid, and then replace him. Where the hell did this kid come from? Aren't you afraid of death? I heard he'll come too today. What did you say about him? Shit. Who else will there be? It's not just Qin Shobei, the youngest son of the Qin family leader. He's young but has extraordinary talent, and he's also extremely domineering. He has been pursuing Yunshi all along, but he has been brutally rejected every time. So he later directly threatened that if anyone dared to pursue Yunshi, he would shatter the other person into pieces. Well, there was once a proud young man who publicly pursued Yunshi under his nose, causing him to beat him half to death, or the kind of person who couldn't get out of bed for 6 months. The Tianjiao you're talking about is probably the scattered cultivator Yang Mu who made a name for himself in Tianshui County back then. It's said that he had the strength of the 5th level of the Kaimai realm, but he couldn't withstand 3 rounds in the hands of Qin Shou, the 4th level of the Kaimai realm. Ah. Speaking of which, that kid is also unlucky enough. Everyone shook their heads for a moment, and then looked at Jiang Xian with a hint of pity in their eyes, as if in their eyes Jiang Xian was no different from a dead person. Hey! He's here. As they spoke, everyone's gaze was fixed on the entrance, where 2 figures strolled in. I saw a young man and an old man. The young man was wearing a black robe and his gaze swept over the crowd present, with a hint of contempt in his eyes. However, when he saw the 2 people chatting and laughing in the corner, the cold smile on his lips gradually solidified, and his face was filled with murderous intent. Bang! A muffled thunder echoed, and Qin Shou's body turned into a gust of wind, instantly appearing on the heads of Jiang Xian and his companions. A terrifying punch fell immediately. Jiang Xian's expression froze, and a phantom dragon head suddenly broke through his body, merging with it, carrying a terrifying sound of dragon chanting. It collided with the fist in the air amidst the gloating gazes around him. Click. At the moment of their collision, the wooden table around them turned into debris, while Jiang Xian, who was at the center of the storm, was like a towering mountain, motionless. Pushi. On the contrary, Qin Shou, who was favored by everyone, flew backwards under this punch and spat out a mouthful of blood. Quiet. Suddenly, the noisy tower became as silent as death. 1 punch. Qin Shou was defeated with just 1 punch. They stared at Qin Shou, who had vomited blood and retreated, feeling unreal for a moment. Even Yun Shi, who was standing next to Jiang Xian, was momentarily shocked in her eyes. She still understood Qin Shou's strength. Although he was domineering, his strength was beyond doubt. Otherwise, it will not be seen as a wild beast. However, even as powerful as Qin Shou, he still couldn't resist the boy's casual blow. When did Qin Shou become so fragile? Chapter 10. What are you? You are listening at novelfull.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.